Welcome back. As we deepen your lessons and understanding of the Biocode system, here we are in a new module with a new Biocode, Biocode 2. We call this Biocode the workout codes, and it's all about building inner strength. In this lesson, you will learn more about the relationship between your emotions and your thoughts and how to stop those story loops in your head that just drain energy throughout the day. Are you ready to hit the gym and work out? Here's Dr. Jill with Biocode 2.
Okay, welcome back. And now we're going to dig in to the goal, the new perspective, and the 3-step process for Biocode 2. This is your inner workout. We go to the gym and we work out our muscles and we get nice and fit. Now you're going to start to learn how to work out your mindset and build those inner muscles, because your emotional muscles that live within you is where you're going to grow from, where it's weak. So the goal is to notice those emotional weaknesses and start to do this inner work. It's an inner workout so you could build emotional strength and start to gain control over your thinking. So here's this new perspective, and this may surprise you. Your emotional weaknesses are actually strengths in disguise. So let's dig into that a little bit further. So for this biocode, we are going to learn a whole new way of measuring emotions. Now, if you learned growing up, as I did, I was taught that our emotions are 2 separate categories, that we have our negative emotions and we have our positive emotions, right? And if we think to ourselves and look at this dual system, more times than not, we think to ourselves, if I could only get rid of this negativity, if I could only stop worrying, if I could only let go of all of this fear or worry or doubt, then I'll feel confident, successful, and healthy in my life. Well, for this biocode, you're going to learn a whole new way of measuring emotions. When we think of emotions, I want you to think of them like muscles in your body. And you were born with all these muscles in your body, and they are what they are. I want you to think through the perspective of the biocode system that all your emotions came in the box and they're in there. You were born with them. And here's the thing, they're all positive. Your original emotions that you were born with are all positive emotions. Think about a baby who is learning how to roll over. If you put that baby towards the edge of a bed, the chances are they're going to fall off. Why? Because they were born to trust. But they get enough bumps and bruises and hurt in their life, they learn, don't trust. If we think about our original energy, we're all born with confidence and calmness. We're all inner directed. That's how we came originally. So instead of thinking about our emotions as negative and positive, we're going to think about them as one emotional system, much like a muscle, that's made up of strengths and weaknesses. So here's an analogy to think about it. Now, here's my confidence muscle. We'll call this the biceps muscle, right? Think of it as one and the same. If my biceps muscle is strong, or my confidence muscle is strong, it's going to feel and function a certain way. It's going to feel good. It's going to feel strong. It's going to feel healthy. And when my biceps muscle is strong, we call it a biceps muscle. When my confidence muscle is strong, we call it a confidence muscle. But life happens. Let's say I strain that muscle. And if I strain my muscle and I can't work out for a while, this exact muscle is going to weaken. It's not going to feel the same way. It's not going to function the same way, but we still call it a biceps muscle. We don't change the name. We don't say like, wow, now it's a schmiceps muscle. No, it's a weakened biceps muscle. Well, the same is true for our emotions. When our confidence muscle is strong, we call it a confidence muscle. When our confidence muscle gets weak, instead of calling it a weakness in confidence, here's what we did. We changed the name. We changed the name to the exact opposite word. But we can't let go of doubt if confidence and doubt is the same muscle. With two separate names, we have a system where we're trying to let go of something instead of strengthening something. So we're going to start to see that the word doubt really means your confidence muscle is a little weak right now, and it could use some exercise. As a result, you're going to move forward, you're going to be productive, and you're going to strengthen that muscle instead of thinking it shouldn't be there, or trying to let it go, or try to release it, or beat yourself up for having it. No, we're going to be productive. We're going to use the words, which we will learn in this segment, as information, just like an indicator light on a car is information telling you to do something else. If you were driving in your car and your gas light came on, the gas light within itself doesn't have any value. We could look at it, we could paint it, we could tape it, we could take out the bulb, but it's not going to solve the problem because it's informing you to do something else, to put gas in your car. We're going to use the words that we're used to, the weaker words, fear, worry, doubt, insecurity, overwhelm, as information only to inform us which muscle, which emotional muscle needs strengthening so we could start to build that inner strength that we all want. So let's get started with that. So the first thing that we need to have is self-awareness. Remember, all biocoding is about you. It's shining a light on ourselves. It's noticing our thoughts and our emotions regardless of the situation, regardless of the behaviors of others. It is looking at yourself. This is solo work. So self-awareness starts with noticing the thoughts that we are keeping in our head. Now, more times than not, those thoughts show up as a story. It shows up as a story in our head, and that story doesn't feel good. It's a story of, oh my gosh, why did I wait so long? Now I'm going to be late for work. So these stories in our head either feel good or they don't feel good. So here's what we're going to do. Of course, we want to build that emotional strength, but now we have to learn, where does that emotion come from? Why do we even have that emotion? So I want you to think about it this way. Your emotions are byproducts of thoughts. That's right. You can't have an emotion without creating a thought first. Just like an apple is a byproduct of a tree. You can't have the apple without the tree. So the way we can tell which emotions need to get strengthened within ourselves is noticing our thoughts and the stories in our head. So the first step of awareness is what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going fishing. That's right, fishing for weaker thoughts and weaker stories in our head. And here's what I want you to do. The second you notice you have a story in your head and it doesn't feel good, I want you to catch it like you caught a fish. And then here's the thing. I want you to praise yourself for catching that story that doesn't feel good. Because we grow with praise, not criticism. That's right. Praise the weaker story. And I want you to say, yay, I got one. I'm excited. I got a story. So we could do something about it. The next thing that I want you to do is I want you to label that story with, look at my finger, guys, one word, a one-word emotion describing how that story makes you feel. You might say, that story makes me feel frustrated, or I feel impatient, or I feel overwhelmed. We're going to use the words that we're used to as information only. The next step is to adjust. We're going to adjust our mindset to create this new way of thinking about the situation that we have, that story and that word. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to find the exact opposite word in that moment. Example, if you feel frustrated, you're going to use the word patience. If you feel doubt, we're going to use the word confidence. And in that moment, what we're going to do is we're simply going to say, practice confidence, or whatever word suits you, whatever your word is. And we're going to give you what we call our opposite chart with the most common emotions that most people have. And you'll be able to identify your word very, very easily. Most people only have one or two words, but they play it out everywhere they go. They play it out everywhere they go. So we want to catch that story, label it with the one word emotion. I feel frustrated. Practice the opposite word. Practice patience. Practice trust. Practice confidence. Simply by saying that out loud, what you're doing is you are training your brain and building the neuroplasticity. So here's the thing, guys. This is why this works. Number one, we don't have stories talk to stories because that's an endless loop that goes on forever. The reason why this works is because your mind, your brain, remembers the last thing that it hears. So for example, if you say, I really need to become more of a patient person, but I am frustrated all the time, your mind hears frustration and there's that muscle. If you say, I feel frustrated and I need to practice patience, in that moment, the muscle goes like that a little bit. And here's the thing. It comes up again and again and again because every time that emotion comes up, it's like having a personal trainer inside of you saying, hey, would you like to practice that again? Hey, would you like another shot at it? And every time you do that in that moment, will you feel the opposite? No, of course you won't feel the opposite. But here's the trick to Biocode 2. You do it regardless of how you feel or function in that moment. And you will start to build the inner strength that you need until it feels organic and natural. Just like if you sprained your leg and you went to the physical therapist and you're doing all the right exercises. You're not going to feel that in the moment, but you keep doing it and eventually you're just strong. The same is true for Biocode 2. So the action step is to practice that emotion in that moment. We're going to notice the story. We're going to catch it. We're going to label it with one word. I feel frustrated. We're going to find the opposite word, patience. And the action step is simply saying it to yourself or out loud. Practice patience. Now, when you first start this practice, you will notice that the weaker you are in that moment, the louder those emotions are going to be, because it's like, hey, you want to practice this? And they're going to come very, very, very frequently. As you get stronger, the emotions don't go away. They're your indicators giving you valuable information to help you to advance your life. What does change is the frequencies of reminders and the intensity of that feeling. So first, maybe the feeling is very strong, very loud, and it's coming very frequently. You're like, okay, practice patience. Practice patience. Comes up again, practice patience. Then you notice an hour went by. And you keep doing it. Then you notice a day went by, 3 days went by, 4 days went by, weeks went by. And then you have very little reminders, very subtle feelings to remind you that this is what we're working on. So this is a powerful skill set. We're going to be going over the opposite chart so you could see what your emotion is. So you could catch it, you could practice it in that moment. And remember, this is a catch and release. Just like fishing, you're going to catch the story, label it, praise yourself. Yay, I got one. Say it to yourself or out loud, let it go, and then carry on and look forward to catching the next one. Now, here's something I want you to remember, that you are going to miss a ton of these stories and these moments as you're practicing it. That's normal. If you miss one, that's fine. If you miss a million, that's fine. If you catch one, that's great. If you catch thousands, that's great. But here's the thing. Whatever you miss is irrelevant to this process. The second you miss something, and you'll miss so many, all I want you to do is bring your awareness back and say this: I look forward to catching the next one. And just like fishing, if a whole school of fish went by and you missed it, you wouldn't say like, wow, let me go after it. Why didn't I catch that whole school of fish? You would simply say, I look forward to catching the next one. Biocoding is all about building you up, not beating you up. So we want to be very kind and very forgiving, because all these biocoding moments is about growing from where you can't do it and getting excited about seeing that. So you could do the practice, exercise those moments so you could gain a little strength for the next time. And again, these small changes, these small moments, these tiny practices over time creates that huge change in time. So this week we're going to be going fishing. We're going to be catching those moments. And remember, if you allow that story to linger, the longer it lingers, the weaker you get. The longer the story lingers, the weaker you get. The quicker you catch that story and label it with that one word, the stronger you're going to get. That's how we gain control over this. Now, we want to go over what keeps us stuck. What is that makes us have that perpetual negative loop in our mind? There are two things that keep us stuck. The first one is believing that emotions are categorized in negative and positive, thinking we could get rid of the negative, then things will just be positive, instead of strengths and weaknesses. That's one thing that will keep you stuck. We're going to view emotions as all positive. Remember that, guys. And a strong positive emotion or a weak positive emotion. Either way, we flex it from where it's at. The other thing that keeps us stuck is dwelling on weaker emotions. When we dwell on the weaker emotions, remember, where our mind goes, our life grows. Whatever we're focusing on, we are attracting more of the same. So instead of dwelling on the weaker emotion, we're going to see that weaker emotion as our opportunity to grow and become a stronger, more resilient person. So I am super excited for y'all to take this on this week. And I know you're going to do great. So we're going to catch those stories. We're going to give them a one word to describe how it makes us feel. Practice the opposite. Praise yourself. Throw it back into the ocean of life. Catch and release. And then look forward to cultivating the exercise and the practice and the discipline of continually catching those moments, because we want to learn how to work our moments, not just live in the pain or the strain in our everyday life. So you guys got this, and I'll see you in the next module.